Hey guys, and welcome back to another automated farm. This time we're going to be doing crystal, and this one's also in the bungalow, which you can get early on in the game for $6,000. Let's have a look at what we're going to need for this setup. So you're going to need the bungalow, you're going to need 3 chemists and 2 handlers. These are our 5 employees, the maximum amount that we can have in the bungalow. And let's go have a brief look up on how the setup looks inside. So this first room over here, we're going to have a chemistry station like this, both of them facing each other. And then the same thing over here facing each other like this. This is with a nice little loop around over here so that you can get a full loop. You'll see at the back over here, we have an oven lab, both next to each other like this, and then one in the corner on each side. Very mirrored design, kind of looks like that. We're then going to have storage shelves to supply the chemistry stations, which are these stations closest to the shelves over here. You can see this storage shelf has the acid, phosphorus, and pseudo, which are the 3 ingredients that you're going to need to put into each chemistry station. I recommend filling these up correctly like this so that you have 10 of each already before you begin. This shelf over here is actually going to supply this station and this station, while we have the same shelf over here with the same ingredients that is going to supply this station and this station. So quite simply, this is what the layout looks like in case you want to quickly go ahead and reference this for building. Moving on to the next room, you'll see here we have a storage rack, the large one on the right-hand side. Then we have 4 of them stacked like this along this side. Basically, the first 2 is going to have extra storage for the phosphorus acid and pseudo that you can use to refill these storage ones. And then we have another 2 shelves over here stacked with jars that we'll be using to the packing station. The packing station is placed right over here with a large storage rack right behind it and 2 beds next to it. And then in this corner, we have another storage rack just along this wall, which is for our end product from the lab oven. So in the lab ovens have the cooked product. It's actually going to go to this shelf. And from this shelf, a handler is going to grab the product and take it into our final room, which looks like this. Immediately when you look in this room, you'll see that we have a shelf on the left and the right mirrored with beds like this. So it looks like that. And then we have our mixing stations placed like this in roughly the middle of the room. You'll see there is a bed in that corner towards the left-hand side over here. And then we have the same setup over here with a bed in that corner over there, leaving a 2-space block open up here for 2 large storage racks to be placed like this. You'll see then next to the beds, there is a large storage rack here and one over here. And there's a gap in this section so that we can actually reach the bed's briefcase once we've assigned an employee. The bottom of the bed has to be here and the bottom of the bed has to be there so that you can actually pay your employees from this angle. You will be able to select it from here. And quite simply, these storage racks are used for supplying the mixing stations to mix this product into the station, this product into the station, this product into the station. And then we have a spare one for extra product that we can use to fill up this side. This one has its spare one over here. So we're going to grab here to fill up this one. And then another one where you're going to grab from here to fill up this one. So there's pretty much 2 racks of each material in this room with the 3 mixing stations. Now this is a 3 mix setup for the maximum amount of profit for the space we have here. If we check our product screen, you'll see our base product sells for $70. After our first mix, it's going to go up to 102. Our second mix is going to make it to 139. And our final mix will bring it to 168 with thought-provoking, tropic thunder, and electrifying effects, and 100% addictiveness. The value of this product is over double that of the main thing. So if you're trying to make money, this is the extra steps that you need to follow to sell the stuff. All right, so now that you know how to build this setup, let's go ahead and show you where to buy all the resources that you need for this whole setup. Starting out with the hardware store, this is going to be the most simple. This is where you're going to get yourself a packaging station, as well as some beds and the storage racks that you're going to require. Now, in order to get crystal, you will have to unlock the Westville region, which is really early on in the game. You'll get Shirley Watts, who is a supplier of pseudo. And then you can go to your messages, find her in the messages over here, Shirley Watts, and you'll be able to ask her to meet up. You'll meet up with her in person or order a dead drop. I recommend meeting up with her in person so that you can actually buy yourself the pseudo that you need in the quality that you desire depending on who you're selling to. In our case, we're just going to use standard pseudo, and this is a great place to order as much of it as you can to fill up your chemistry stations as well as your extra storage racks, so that when you run out of product, you don't have to find her again. You can just stack your shelves and buy from her when you need. For our mixing stations, we're going to have to make our way to any of the gas marts in the game. So you're going to go to a gas mart, speak with the person in charge. You're going to buy yourself a ton of the blue pills. You're going to buy yourself a ton of Addy and a ton of horse milk. Those are our 3 ingredients that we're going to be using for our mixing. And you can also get yourself some jars over here for your packing. Once your game time hits 6 p.m., you're going to make your way to the warehouse located over here, which you've probably been here a couple times already. You're going to make your way to Oscar's little store, just like so, and you will be buying yourself a ton of acid and a ton of phosphorus, which are the 2 other ingredients that you will be needing for those chemistry stations. In case you don't know where to get those chemistry stations, you're going to go ahead and scroll down here, and you'll have the chemistry station and the lab oven on sale below here, which you will go ahead and purchase. You'll also be able to find those mixing stations over here for sale too. All right, so now I'm going to show you how to set up your employees so that they're all on their assigned stations and how this automated farm works. So starting off with our chemists, let's pull out our clipboard. We'll start with this chemist over here. We're going to hit manage, assign a bed, assign any of the beds that you want to use. In this case, we're just going to use this one. We're then going to assign 4 stations. In this case, with this chemist, we're going to assign her to the chemistry stations over here, and then the 2 oven labs over here. So the 4 on the left like this, just like that. Hit escape or enter to mark them down so you can see it looks like this. And then this chemist is done. Hit escape, and we're going to go to the next chemist, which we will manage, assign a bed. Pick a bed where you want them to stay, in this case here. Then you're going to hit assigned stations, and you're going to pick the 4 stations that you can pick here. In this case, we're going to use the other 4 in this room. So chemistry station, oven, and oven, like that. And then hit escape or enter to hit OK. And you'll see this will basically assign those stations. We're done with this chemist. And then our final chemist pretty much has one job, right? So we're going to go here to this chemist, hit manage, assign a bed. This time we're going to go find a bed in that final room since we've used these 2 beds. Just pick any bed over here like this, assign a station. In this case, it's going to be assigned to the mixing station. Holding shift, you can select multiples. So you're going to select this station and this station. So this chemist is going to be mixing. That's their job entirely. Hit escape or enter to approve this, and you'll see that the 3 mixing stations are added into it. And that's it for the chemists. Now let's go ahead and assign what the stations need to do. Before we look at handlers, we're going to go back to this room over here. So this chemistry station, we're going to look at it with the clipboard out, hit manage. The recipe it's going to do is this one. Its destination is going to be to the lab oven right over here, just like so. Hit escape. Then we're going to go ahead and select this chemistry station, this recipe. Destination is going to be this lab oven, a different lab oven. So essentially this one is going to supply that oven and this one is going to supply that oven. We can then move on to these 2 stations on the opposite side, hit manage, select the recipe, select the destination. This one is going to go to the far side over here. And this station over here on the right-hand wall is going to make that same recipe. The destination is going to be the lab oven right next to it, like so. That means each station will be supplying its unique oven on the other side of the room, like so. Now the lab ovens will all be supplying a singular storage rack, which is over here. So all the final product, the base product, is going to go right here. And to do this, we're going to hold the clipboard, we're going to hold shift and select all the ovens like that. So we have all of them selected. Hit E to manage the ovens, select the destination, and we're going to have all of that product moved to this shelf over here. The reason I'm doing this is because sometimes there is a slow work hold at the mixers. So sometimes the ovens stay full and not emptied for a long period of time. So we're actually going to fill up this shelf first so that it doesn't slow down production. Hit escape or right click to deselect everything. Now that we're done with that room, we'll move over to this room. The packaging station is over here. With the clipboard out, we're going to hit manage packaging station, select the destination. The final product is going to be stored in this container over here. So essentially, we're just going to come in at the end of this every couple of days. We'll come in here, restock everything, and grab the final product here and go sell it or give it to our dealers to sell as we're, like letting them automate this whole thing. All right, so now we have to go ahead and manage the mixing stations. So right over here, we have the 3 mixing stations. Starting with this first one on the right-hand side, we're going to hit E to manage. The threshold, you can have it whatever you want. We're going to have it on 10. Its destination is going to be into the next mixing station because it's going to be a 3-step. So step 1 into step 2, so select here. And then you're going to hit escape. With the clipboard out, you're going to manage the next mixing station. Threshold up to 10. Destination is going to be the final mixing station, like so. Hit escape, and then with the clipboard out, manage this mixing station, threshold up to 10. And the destination of this one is actually going to be into the storage shelf right behind the packaging shelf. The reason for this is to prevent any delay of products, because sometimes the packaging station might be full and the handler who's supposed to be doing stuff here is busy with something else. All right, so now that you've done all the stations and the chemists, we're going to look at our true handlers who are going to be pretty busy. So with the first handler, we're going to manage them. We're going to assign them a bed. So let's go ahead and pick them a good old bed. In this case, we're going to have them using a bed at the back over here, just like so. Now we're not going to assign any stations to this handler. This handler is going to be the one that packs the chemistry stations. So we're going to add a bunch of new routes. This one's going to be very busy with all of these tasks. So starting with the first one, it's going to deliver from here to here. So click the none from like this. So it's going to deliver from this shelf, right, with all the ingredients used to supply the 2 chemistry stations here. So select here. It's going to supply this one. And then from here again to supply this one. So pretty much that rack is going to supply these 2 stations. And then we're going to have the other rack over here supply this station, and then the rack supply this station, so that this rack is supplying these 2 stations right here. Now the handler has one more route available. We're going to use from, and we're actually going to use the end product one over here. So the straight like base product that comes from the ovens into here, he's going to move from here and take it to the first mixer to begin the whole mixing process that the chemist will run through this whole area. So he's going to bring the meth product over here. And that is it for this handler. That's all this handler is going to do. We now have to go ahead and assign our next handler to do pretty much the packaging and the rest of the tasks. So this handler, go manage, assign them a bed. We're going to use the one at the back. Now, the reason why we want the ones at the back over there is so that if you need to sleep, you can access this bed and not get stuck in that area if you try sleep on that one. So select this bed over there just like this. We're going to assign a station to this one. The station is going to be the packaging station. Now, in terms of the routes for this handler, we're going to go hit from, and we're going to start with the mixing station because that's the first process that we need done. She's going to use this rack over here to supply this mixing station. Then she's going to use this rack over here to supply the second mixing station. Then the third rack to supply the third mixing station. All you'll need to do is make sure that you use this rack, and this rack to fill up that rack, and this rack with the product so that these are never empty. Because if these are empty, the whole process stalls. You'll then have 2 routes left, and this is actually going to be for the packaging purpose. So we're going to start over here to grab jars from this front shelf by the jars and move it to the packaging station. And then the last route is going to be to grab from this product over here, which is the end product from the mixing station. So from here into the packaging station. And because she works at the packaging station, she will then package that product and then end up moving it to this shelf over here for you to grab later on. And that is the entire process of everything all automated. All you need to do is make sure everything is stocked. You have everything filled here, chemistry stations filled with the right products to the maximum. These 2 storages filled maximally. You have your 2 spare storages so that you can use to fill up these so that you can, store more of it. You have an extra rack of jars that you can keep to fill up this one. And quite simply, all you need to do now is pay your employees by putting money in their briefcases like so. So you'll pay the 3 chemists and then the 2 handlers, which you can see we can access their briefcases nice and easy from this point. And they'll all come in here and begin their work like so. Get to work, guys. Go, do your stuff. All right, so it's been a few days. Let's see what the progress is on this place. Looks like they are using the product. They still have a bunch left, even though it's been about like 2 or 3 in-game days. They've made about a decent amount. There's 26 times 5 of the wedding slime, which each of them is worth $168. So that is some decent bank right there that we can give to the dealers or put in baggies and sell. But you can see everything is working as expected. The chemists are doing their job. They're packing their products and they're going to be putting it into this storage over here. You'll see that she'll come up here in a second and supply this storage rack with the fresh products, just like so. A handler is going to come in and grab it and take it to the first mixing station, which we can resupply. Looks like they've used a few here. I actually did restock it about a day or 2 ago. Here's the handler bringing the product and, pretty much starting the whole process with the mixing, and the chemist who does the mixing, you'll see there he is coming right now to go ahead and begin the whole mixing procedure. So that is it for the automated farm. You can go ahead and grab your product here, and then you're just going to quite simply take it to your dealers or, sell it yourself if that's what you choose to do. And that's how you can set up an automated crystal farm in the bungalow. I hope you guys enjoyed, and thank you so much for watching.